Lorna, do I mute myself until you tell me?
No, stay there, but don't say anything. We're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I will be with you guys in 2 seconds. Let me just go ahead and set this thing to record, and we will be with you in a moment. You guys, do not go anywhere. Do not go anywhere. I will be with you shortly. I will be with you guys absolutely shortly. All right, all right. Good evening, good evening. Hope all is well. Welcome to joining me at the kitchen table. I am Lorna Owens. I am the owner of Desert Sage Lifestyle Wellness Company in I said in Miami. No, 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 in DeLand. And this is my kitchen table. And you're my guest. So wherever you are in the world, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today I have just an amazing, amazing, amazing person guest for you. Her name is Tanya Ryan, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Tanya, not a lot. So while I pull up what I need to say about her, and then the big introduction will be the last, as I think about her, here's who she is, right? I'm put on my glasses so that you can hear it. She says, they whispered to her, you cannot handle the storm. And she whispered back, there's a blank. I am the storm. You can go look at her on Facebook, and then you can figure out what she said there. She's a seeker of truth. She's a scholar. But I think most importantly, she's my friend. Tanya, welcome. Welcome to my kitchen table.
My God, Lorna, I have. When you said, what are you doing on the 10th of March? I thought we were going to have a glass of wine. I didn't.
You're moving your thing, and it's.
I didn't
Yeah, you're moving
know.
your chair. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I didn't know that the glass of wine was going to be virtual and you were going to be talking to me to God knows who or where over this world. But
Well, I tell you, let's raise a glass of wine. In my glass is one of our non-alcoholic wine. This is a rosé naughty wine. What's in your glass?
it's a Pinot Noir from South Africa.
Oh, love that, love that, love that. When I used to drink, that's what South Africa was big on my list. Let me ask you, where are you from?
I was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica, but moved to
Okay.
the United States when I was 19. I'm 63 now, so I don't know, where am I from?
Well, for you, I think of you as a citizen of the world, right? I think of you as a person with great curiosity. I think of you as somebody who never lose your sense of wonder. How come? What makes you this person? Why are you always seeking? Why are you always reading? Why is the intellect in you so turned up?
Well, to answer that question, it would be a longer conversation, but suffice to say, I think that as a soul inhabiting a body on planet Earth, this was my journey this time because I've been inquisitive my whole life. I
Right.
question everything. I do not take anything for granted. I actually spoke, or my dad tells me that I spoke before I walked. I was 10 months old when I started speaking, and I guess I haven't really shut up. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like information is important. And as we are evolving, I mean, I am a person, a human in progress. So what I
Hold,
knew,
hold that thought. Hold that thought. So learning is never complete. One's learning, and that doesn't necessarily go to a university. It's just what we absorb from everything, from people, things, and place around us. I think in Japanese there's a concept called kaizen or whatever. It means the concept means to continue to learn. When you get up So tell me, when you get up in the morning, what is the first thing you do? And whatever that thing is there some intentionality to how you start your day?
Absolutely. I am not a religious person, Lorna, uh, but I'm deeply spiritual, and spirit has been moving through me since I was a young child. Um, Comes to me through dreams mostly. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is nothing so that I can remember what dreams I had. I don't always, but the ones that are important, I absolutely do. So I never just jump out of bed. I remember them, and that really sets my tone for the day every day. More so now in the past, 5 or 6 years, that is an important part of my life. In order for me to get through a day, I must remember that I am a spiritual being having a human experience, but a spiritual being also having a spiritual experience. And so the unseen is important to me. The unseen is alive for me. The spirit world is alive for me, and spirit speaks through me a lot through the animal world. So I have lizards, uh, frogs, birds, squirrels, things like that, and messages come, feathers come a lot too.
What
So
would that look like? So, for example, I mean, because somebody would say, hearing that from you would say, wow, wow, wow. I'm not sure what they would say, but let me understand that a bit. So, when you say the animal words speak to you, is it a feeling you get? What does that look like?
okay, so I know, and I don't know how I know, so I just have to go with the fact that as a soul, my soul knows even if I don't. And so I trust my gut, I trust my intuition a lot. It is rare that I'm wrong when I trust myself. I always go wrong when I doubt, I second guess myself. So the spirit world in the animal world, um, at first, I mean, I've been practicing this for a long time now, but at first I would notice that at certain times of the day, for instance, a particular, say a squirrel will come and do the same thing every day. And after a while, I started to note, to pay more attention and to notice more things. So then I started looking up, well, what does it mean? What's the spiritual meaning of, for instance, a squirrel coming to your front door? And so over years, those things developed for me, and I trust them. I get dimes a lot or pennies a lot. Out of nowhere, a feather will just appear where there were no feathers. Things like that. And I
So, well, hold
just,
on. When you say you get dimed a lot, you get paid, it just shows up like
yeah,
you,
in my path.
okay.
For instance, in my home, I am renovating a home in Jamaica, a guest house and a place for retreats that I plan to lead retreats for women. Every time I go there, there is either a $10 coin, a Jamaican $10 coin, or a $1 coin. Just in my path, somewhere in that house, somewhere on the ground, somewhere on the, and here at home, in my home here in Florida, it's dimes or pennies. They will just appear out of nowhere. I mean, literally last week, I got up and I was washing my face in the morning, brushing my teeth, and I looked over and there was a dime, and it wasn't there the night before. I don't have money upstairs in my bedroom.
And what do you
You
think
know?
that means? I mean, that is astonishing, interesting. Um, Makes you, if you stay open, the question is, what do you interpret that to mean?
Well, for me, for me, I go with how I feel about it. If I don't feel good about it, because most times I'll pick it up, but sometimes I trust my gut feeling. And so I go with what comes to me. I don't second guess it. I just trust. So I guess it's I don't know, faith.
Okay.
I just trust that I'm okay.
So do you believe that there's a message coming to you through these occurrences where I think it's Tabitha Brown, she finds something to when her mom who's passed away, passed on, when she has something to tell her, she appears as something. It's a coin too. I can't remember if it's a dollar
Correct.
bill or is a something. And is this an occurrence that other people report as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, my friend Indira and I, we text each other each time we find a dime. She'll go, "Ha, look what I found today." So it's not unique to me.
Okay.
These are things that are happening. This has been happening forever. You know, it's the more aware you become, is the more aware you become. But I think that it is a conscious effort that one has to make to live a spiritual life. Because in a world where we're bombarded with constantly with external things, we don't spend a lot of time going in. And sometimes it takes a cataclysmic event in your life to happen for you to really pay attention and notice and realize, oh, and that's what happened for me.
Is all right, so are women more intuitive than men? That's why, so there are like 2 or 3 questions I'm going to throw out at once.
Well,
Are women more intuitive than men? Can you develop this thing called intuition? And also, as a woman, I know you're a businesswoman. Is this hard for you in your daily life to maintain this peace, this spirituality? How do you manage the totality of these circumstances?
okay. Um, to answer your first question, I think intuition is in every one of us. I do not think that men are different from women when it comes to that, because we are all souls having human experiences, whether you're male or female. And we also both, and you know, have both a masculine and a feminine energy inside of us, not male or female, but the energy of the masculine or the energy of the feminine. That's in every one of us. Okay, so I think intuition is something that we are born with, but like I said, we live in a society, especially now, where everything is instant, and we tend to be external more than internal. So to answer your question, how do I develop that? Well, first of all, I don't turn on the news. That's the first thing. The best way to get really connected with yourself is to disconnect from the external, because it is a distraction. And quite frankly, in my opinion, it's an avoidance tactic. It's a thing we use to avoid dealing with ourselves. And it isn't until we absolutely have to that we do, you know, and that's not a criticism on any particular person. We all, as human beings, we all do that. We rarely, it is a rare person that doesn't, that just gets up one day and say, you know what, I'm just going to start living a spiritual life. We usually have to have something like an illness or a death or a loss of a relationship that we thought was the world to us, or something, some trigger happens that propels us into that, you know. And it can be a betrayal, it can be a, you know, a loss of something you thought you had and it betrayed you, whether it's your family, a lover, a husband, a wife, whatever, a boss, it doesn't matter. And the content, I guess, doesn't matter either, because betrayal is betrayal. It could be you betraying your own self, sabotaging yourself. I just feel, at least for me, as much of a spiritual life that I've been on the spiritual journey since 1990. And it was the loss of a relationship that propelled me into that, because I thought this was the world. And, you know, it threw me into the beginning of discovering myself and having someone who noticed my potential stand out and take me under their wing. And this was my acting teacher. my acting teacher said, you know, you have such a stage presence as an actor. There is so much more depth to you. I would like to introduce you to something. And he did, and that propelled me on my spiritual journey. But that means nothing because life still happens and you go along. And then just when you think you're at the top of the mountain, you're not. You know, there's the next thing to climb, because as I said, a human life in process, you know, you're never done until you're done. So it's a matter of, well, what next? What's next? Okay, climb that mountain or got over that obstacle. What's next? And when you ask to be opened up, and really truly when you ask for the grace of God, the light of God, the peace of God, whatever God means to you, you ask to be shown more. Spirit is always willing to show you more. Just like the body is always willing to heal itself if you give it an opportunity to do so. It's the same thing. The soul knows everything. The soul is perfect. At the end of the day, when this human avatar called Tanya Ryan leaves this earth, there will never be another Tanya Ryan, you know, but the soul will continue. So it's a matter of learning more, wanting the very best for yourself. And in doing so,
how do you shut out the noise, and how do you go within, go on a spiritual path um when you can't see? It's not like you put on a pair of shoes and you're like, yeah, I'm putting on this pair of shoes, right?
right.
And but do you, as you do this thing, as you do these practices, so for me, my spiritual practice always opens for me with prayer, right? That is my modality, that is my access, and couldn't do without it. But there are days when, like everybody else, you're lost, you're distressed, you're distressed. You don't know, you don't have an answer, and you're like, I thought I was past this. It feels like one step forward, and two step backward. How do you maintain and also move forward?
Okay. Well, first of all, to quote my ex-husband, Dev, God rest his soul, he used to say to me, Tani, you're not dead, so you have to keep going.
Okay.
That's the first thing. You're not going to die. So what are you going to do? Have it just cover you up? Well, you can choose to have the pity party for a while, but after a while that becomes old, and you still have to eat, you still have to do your job, you still have to pay your rent, you still have to, maintain a life. So you have to. And just like you have never seen air, but you know it's there. We human beings can't live without air, but we've never seen it. It's when you hit rock bottom and you have nowhere else to go but up. And prayer looks very different to everybody, Lorna. Some people need to get on their knees. Some people need to go into a church. Some people need to go to a sweat lodge. People find all different kinds of ways to cope.
Walking is a prayer, right? Go ahead. Walking is
Absolutely.
also a prayer.
Absolutely. Or just, for me, I just keep asking to be shown more. There's a knowing I have, and I believe that there's a difference between believing something and knowing it. Knowing something comes from the soul. Believing something is of the mind. Yeah.
Right.
So from I was about 2 years old, I have this knowing that I came into this world to do something big. And I don't know what that is. I didn't know what that was, but it's always been there with me. And what does big mean? Because to me, I could create something big in my small space, which is exactly what I do. I have a small group of women that we meet regularly, and I'm doing something big for them and big for me, but in a very tiny, small space called my home. So it's a knowing that I had, and I've just trusted and followed it. And I don't know why. I just know why. I know I don't know why. I just know that haven't been led wrong. I haven't, first of all, I've never not had a meal I wanted. I've never not had a roof over my head. I've never ever been in a place where I could truly say I have problems. And I'm grateful for that. Yes, I've had many heartaches. I've had betrayals. I've had, people hurt me to my core. I've had loss. But I have a good, full, rich life. And I don't take that for granted, but I also give myself a lot of credit because I have the life I have because I have cultivated it for myself. I came into this world alone. I'm leaving it alone. And therefore, if it's to be, it's up to me. And that's truly how I live my life every single day.
One of the things I love when I look at your Facebook page, there are lots of quotes. And one of the ones that I pulled from there, I'm going to do two. It says, what can we do to stop living in fear? So that's something I'm going to ask you to weigh in on. And the other one is, the butterfly is beautiful because the caterpillar is brave. I mean, to me, that is so profound. Oh my goodness.
So, yes. So that and the storm, they whispered to her, you cannot handle the storm. And she whispered back, I am the storm. Well, what is the storm? Because I have been a quiet storm a lot of my life. I can speak and I can get loud and I can whatever. And you see me on my social media. And if you notice, my social media is about uplifting things. If I want to post a beautiful drink that I'm at a restaurant, or a fabulous meal, because I'm a foodie, because I also believe in that having a good life and keeping out the chaos and keeping away from fear is to indulge yourself in all your senses, to come to your senses. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you taste? What do you hear? What do you smell? All of those things, those are little prayers. Those are little rituals that is prayer to self, prayer to the world, prayer to the universe. When you are being, not doing so much, but being in a sense of self, peace. For instance, you asked me, how do you, when everything is chaotic around you, what do you do? And I often think of a lighthouse in a storm. That lighthouse is not budging, no matter how the storm is. That lighthouse is simply just standing there, shining its light. Just standing there, shining its light. It's just being a lighthouse, right? So for me, because I know that this is not it, because I know that when I leave this earth, I'm not going in a black box in a hole in the ground and never doing that makes no sense to me. I can't fathom that. So because I know this is not it, and I know that everything is temporary, I remind myself of that. It doesn't mean that I don't get upset and not frustrated and I don't have my own fear. Of course I do, because I'm human. But I refuse to allow it to cover me and to, I don't know, it's temporary.
Right.
It's temporary. And therefore, every time that happens and you look next door and you see the people who just lost their homes in California, or
Right.
There's always something worse. You know what I'm saying? It could always be worse. So instead of complaining about what I don't have or wishing for what I do not have, and this is something I've had to learn, and it hasn't come easy. It's come with a lot of heartache and a lot of pain. But what is I've switched it around and I've decided to be grateful for what I already have and to want what I have instead of wanting what I don't have. Want what I have. And what I have is a good life. I have good friends. I have love. I have people who love me. I am loved and I love people. And so therefore, I focus more on the things that unite us than the things that separate us. And whether what unites me is me and my Cheez-Its, because you cannot come between me and my Cheez-Its. Okay. Cheez-Its and a glass of wine could be dinner for me,
Amen.
I really do concentrate on more now. And especially because I'll tell you, when you been asked to step into a leadership role, and the spirit asked me to do that. You know, you can't teach what you don't know. So I thought to myself, okay, well, what do I know? Well, I know pain. I know betrayal. I know how it feels to not feel safe. That's what I know. And so that's what I teach, because you cannot teach what you don't know. Right?
That's powerful. That is really powerful. You can't teach what you don't know. There was something else that I want to, as we are coming down, and it's a quote from your page. Truth is, it doesn't matter who I used to be. All that matters now is who I am now. And that is makes me
Yeah,
full.
because we only do what we do because that's what we know, to quote our beautiful Maya Angelou. When you know better, you do better, you know, and hurt people. And we live in a world that's full of pain. And I try every single day, I make it a conscious effort not to hurt people. I'm going to hurt people. I'm going to, hurt people, not intentionally, but I really do make the effort to do that. And I try not to hold people in their history, as I hope people doesn't hold me in mine, because I've been a hurtful person. I've said hurtful things. We all have, because we are human. It's a matter of, how do you clean it up? What do you do to clean it up?
Okay. So if people, because believe it or not, we're there. And one of these days we'll do a retreat together. We have done well, you've come to mine, and I look forward to coming to your retreat in Jamaica. I can't wait. But if somebody wanted to reach out to you, if they wanted your class, they wanted to be on the list for the different retreats you're going to be doing in Jamaica, because I think there is a waiting list, so they might as well get on the list now. How does that show up?
Well, I haven't really put that together yet, because as you know, this house isn't really ready. But what I'm doing right now is, I think, every month I hold, what I used to hold it every month, I've broken it down now to once a quarter, because I'm an astrologer as well. And so the tool that I use for my life is astrology. And that's been in my life since I was 15 years old. And I'm very good at it, and I enjoy it, and I use it to help others. So I hold a full moon circle sound healing space in my home at the full moon. And then I just recently, and again, I was guided by spirit to take it to the next level. And I trust. I know nothing about the tarot cards, but yet it came to me in a dream. I should hold a vision board workshop for the women who come to my new moon circle, and I should do vision through tarot. That's all I was told. And I did it. I had no idea what it was going to look like. I didn't even know if one person was going to respond. I had 10 beautiful women respond. And 2 weeks ago, we did this first vision through the tarot workshop. And it was fantastic and wonderful. And it brings me great joy to pass my knowledge, whatever it is I know, onto others, and to watch them, or if it brings me great joy to see a person's potential, see what they're capable of, and be the person who helped them get there. See them for who they already are. And that's
there's a lot of freeing that comes when we speak truth to power. And I will tell you this, April 26th, right here in DeLand, we're doing And the Women Gather. And that is my way of bringing women around the country. So wherever you are in the country, please go to our website at desert-sage.co. And it's a gathering of women. It's celebrating women here in DeLand in the form of a literary jazz brunch. I know Tanya is coming. I know she has other friends that's coming as well. She's coming up from Fort Lauderdale, and people are coming from Coconut Grove and all like that. It doesn't matter where you come from or you're in town. It is celebrating women at a high, wonderful, loving sisterhood kind of level. And that's April 26th. So go to desert-sage.co, get your tickets. The tickets range from $25 to $85. The difference is at the $85, you get the whole, you get brunch and everything with that. At the $25 level, you do come into a beautiful historic theater, the Athens Theater, enjoy live jazz by Shine and the Shakers, and two amazing authors right now, Susan Hoffman, right? Susan Hoffman, and we have Grace Vale Robinson. And so that is we've been doing this for years at the Ritz-Carlton in Coconut Grove. And it was mind-blowing, experiential. We cry, we laugh, and it's there's nothing like it. Men do come as well, but most importantly, all the proceeds from that go to train midwives for Africa. So final word, Tanya, and I have one last quote to just share as we go out. Is there a final word from you? And I want to thank you. That is wonderful. This is soulful. Love it, love it, love it.
Yes, there actually is. First of all, I'm so honored that you asked me to do this, because I have to tell you, like I said, this would have to be a longer conversation, but I've not always had a good relationship to women. I have not. And that's something I've had to work through, because what you tell yourself, thoughts become things. But meeting you and knowing you really, really inspired me, especially I've been to many of your And the Women Gather, and see what is possible when women gather. So I want to thank you for being my Sherpa up that mountain, where I now am sherpering other women. And at a time like this, it is important that the feminine be raised up, because there's a huge imbalance. And when I say the feminine, I mean the spirit of the feminine, because there are many feminines out here right now who behave in a very masculine way. And there are very many masculines who have a beautiful feminine side. So I'm trying to encourage the return of the feminine, whatever that looks like for you, the nurturing, receptive, feminine energy. So my dear friend, for that, I really do thank you.
My love, namaste. That you opened up a whole can of worms. I am most powerful when I'm allowed to be in my feminine self. A lot of times I say to close friends around me, treat me like a girl. I'm a girl. I'm a girl. And it's not because I'm weak. It's just that's where I am strongest. So it's interesting you should say that. And yeah, so now I will certainly embrace that more because I know it and that's how I feel, right? So thank you. And I stand on your shoulders. I love to come to your house and the energy is fabulous. And you and I could start talking at 7 p.m., 7 a.m. one day and go on to 7 p.m. at night, because it's just a wonderful sisterhood. So blessings to you. So I'm going to end with Amanda Gorman, and it says, the new dawn blooms as we free it. For there's always light if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to see it. So my sisters, I'm out of here. Next week, we'll have an amazing guest. If you know somebody that you'd like us to take a look at, then certainly do that. But I ask you to subscribe to what we have here, like and share, and let us create this community. So thank you all for joining me at my kitchen table. It's Tanya. This was wonderful. Peace and blessing.
You, my dear.
Namaste. I love you,
Namaste,
my
my
love.
Thank
Hugs,
you,
hugs.
thank you, thank
Okay.
you.
I'll see you soon. I'll see you
Take
soon.
care.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So let me get out of here. If I can find my way out. There we go.